Your life, your rules. Unlocked with Huawei Mate 7's advanced fingerprint security on a 6-inch display. Huawei Mate 7. Huawei.
Vodacom. There's a perception that South Africa's townships lag the rest of the country in data use. But actually, according to Vodacom, they are almost doubling in use year on year and are growing at well above the national average. Here to speak to us is Vodacom's Chief Technology Officer, Andries Delpoort, and it's a very clever solution that you found to address access to data and how to increase it in townships. Tell us a little bit about it.
No, it certainly is, Toby. Thank you. Yes, we do have a few challenges, and the one challenge is the data growth and also the voice growth. So we have to deploy infrastructure, considering that we don't necessarily have the spectrum everywhere that we require. So we have to find a solution that's cost effective, can be deployed quickly, and also circumvent or get around some of the challenges that we have specifically in this case townships. Yes.
So the solution that you've come up with is very clever. It fits onto a shipping container, which are already in the township as community phone centers.
Yes, and the nice thing is, if we look at, we actually have more than 2,000 of these shipping containers across the country. It's already there. There's already an arrangement with the person who owns the space or the land, so it is quite easily. It takes us 3 weeks to build this, then go and install it on top of the shipping container, smallish mast, which is not too difficult, and within a day or two we can actually have the base station commissioned. If I compare that to any other base stations or most places in the country, it can take anything from 12 to 24 months to get approval and get something built.
And significantly it costs a lot less.
Yes, and it costs a lot less. Although I must say it is nice, it is a secondary benefit from this, but the main benefit is to provide data quality, data coverage, voice quality, voice coverage, and the performance that we want everywhere across the country.
And it's a win-win situation for the person who owns the shipping container or runs it on Vodacom's behalf, because they end up with more business and a better signal.
The advantage is, yes, now there is definitely good signal. So he runs mobile services out of his container, he sells airtime, he sells vouchers, and the nice other benefit to him is the base station consumes electricity, so we have to buy electricity. He sells us prepaid electricity, which we then, which is additional revenue for him.
But more than anything else, it just brings some kind of parity to a township infrastructure, because it does lack some of the other readily available infrastructure of more affluent areas.
No, certainly. There's other infrastructure that we have to piggyback on and make use of, and sometimes even our own infrastructure. As you said, if data grows twice as high as the national average, we have to build twice as fast, etc. So it is twice as a bigger problem to roll out base stations sometimes in some of the townships. And I think this is a really neat solution where we now get around the timing and the effort to deploy base stations. Yes.
And they're built to be redundant from power outages.
Yes. Now, these can, if we lose power to the base station, they can still operate for 8 hours during load shedding or something similar.
Well, that's really great. So it's a win-win situation all round, isn't it? You are able to use existing infrastructure to create a smaller, compact base station that gives people nearby better voice and data coverage and creates an income stream for the guy in the shop.
No, certainly. No, as you say, win-win. People win, our customers win, the shop owner wins, and we win at the end of the day because we are providing the service that we're trying to provide.
Why have you decided to do this in the townships?
We have customers here, we have a market share that's in excess of 50% here, for example, in Alexandria. And one of the things that we've seen a demand for data. And we're seeing that through the purchase of smartphones, smart devices in a place like this. And in a place like Alex, space, as you can see, is a major problem. So finding a site is not that easy. Having said that, we do have some 262 base stations that cover this area. So this is not our first project in terms of providing people coverage, but as the demand and usage grows, we need to constantly stay in line. And in fact, the way the technology is growing, we need to almost stay one step ahead of customers in terms of their needs. So That also brought about, well, if we've got a container, we've got an owner-operator that we know and have a relationship for many, many years, what can our technology guys do with the container? And that's where the innovativeness came from, and that's saying, well, listen, what if we put the site on top of the container? So that's the really nice thing about it, is that we didn't have to go and secure new sort of property relationships. It's using an existing site. For us, it's a win-win story that says, we're not just putting up distribution for the sake of distribution and Vodacom. There's also benefit to the owner. The next part is obviously LTE. This site here specifically right now has 3G, but as that demand grows, we will be ready to provide LTE right now. I think the price points is what's dropping over time, but I think the key thing here is that we've provided something additional for our customers. We've got a better relationship that's beneficial to the owner-operator. And I think the last point to make is that through this whole distribution, customer enhancing experience process, we also identified a need to have more Vodacom people visible here with our operators, because we are always launching new products. We've got to make sure that the stock has been delivered. You don't want to rock up to an outlet like this and want to buy airtime and find there's no product. We also introduced something called the distributor sales rep model, and basically depending on the amount of customers, population we have in an area, depending on the density. So we've got 7 of those reps that are from this area, and their job is to, on a daily basis, call on the various outlets, make sure that our branding is here, make sure that our stock, and making sure that the owner-operator has the requisite training.